Hi everyone, my name is Grace Chang and I'm an attorney here at Tsang and Associates. Today we're going to be talking about an EB-3 PERM case for a cook. And this case was super challenging because not only was the position very difficult to craft in the beginning, but there were also challenges because the employer is located in a more rural area. So finding the proper recruitment methods was a challenge. And there were a lot of other issues that I can't wait to share it with you guys. Let's get to it. One of the challenges of this case is that the employer was located in a more rural area. And if you guys know about the PERM, one of the first recruitments that we do at our firm is the 2 Sunday ads. The requirement is that you need to post an ad in the newspaper of widest general circulation that publishes on Sunday. But in some of these rural areas, they don't have a newspaper that runs on Sunday. In that kind of a situation, we're allowed to recruit in the newspaper of general circulation that runs on a Saturday or has a weekend edition. And so we had to do a lot of research, calling different newspapers, reaching out to different news desks and asking, do you run on Sunday? What are your circulation numbers? And we thankfully found a newspaper that was nearby that had a Saturday ad. And so we were able to run recruitment there. But what was interesting is that there was a newspaper that was located, I want to say like 50 miles, away from this employer that did have Sunday ads. And so the dilemma was, do we run the ad in the newspaper that had less circulation but had Saturday ads closer to where the employer lived or where the employer was located? Or do we run it in the newspaper that might be farther away, had bigger circulation, but also ran on a Sunday? The point of the Sunday ads, or the point of all the ads really, is which paper, which method of advertising is going to reach the widest audience or the candidate that is most likely to apply for the position. And so we thought that reaching out to a newspaper of wide circulation, even though it's not the largest circulation, but still a wide circulation in the general vicinity of the restaurant, was more likely to attract a U.S. candidate for the position. Now, strategically, we have to balance that out. Let's say we went with the newspaper that was farther away but had a Sunday newspaper. Department of Labor could say, well, even though it has wider circulation, people in that area they might not be willing to commute 50 miles to work at this restaurant. So it's actually not the ideal paper for recruitment. And actually we talked to another attorney who had the same dilemma as us, had an employer that was located in the same city as our employer, who did the recruitment with the other newspaper with the Sunday circulation. Actually, that case got denied. We decided to go with the Saturday newspaper, and it turns out we made the right choice because the labor cert was approved without an audit. Because this was a chef position, it's a non-professional position, which means that there are only 3 mandatory ads. So one is the 2 Sunday consecutive ads. You have to also post it in the state workforce agency job board. Every state has a job board that is used by, that is open to anyone in the state that wants to look for jobs, and also employers to post jobs for at least 30 days. And then you also have to do notice of filing, which means you have to post a notice within the organization so that people within the company can also apply for the position. Another challenge that we face in this case is that the candidate had worked for multiple restaurants across multiple different states for a long time. And so when we had to build out his employment history to prove that he had the experience for this position, it was really hard to get exact dates, to get objective evidence to back it up. So after multiple attempts, we just had to gather a team to just sit down and go through hundreds of documents, all of his pay stubs for the past 6-7 years, to see if we can piece together enough evidence to show that he had the experience required for this position. Some of the documents that you want to have to prove your experience for a PERM case is, one, first of all, an employment verification letter. And the guidelines are very clear on what that letter has to have. It has to be on letterhead, it has to be signed. It has to state the name of the job title of the position, specific job duties, the length of employment. So you want to have an exact and start and end date. And you want to also mention terms of employment. So was this paid? Was this part-time? Was this full-time? Number of hours? So all that information has to be in the employment verification letter. We also ask for pay stubs. We ask for W-2 forms. If the employment was abroad, then I would also ask for foreign pay stubs, tax returns, or I've also used documents like pension statements. Some countries, if you enroll in national pension, they'll write the name of the employer and the dates of employment on an official document. So as long as it's an official document, we can use that. This didn't apply to this case, but I know in other cases, sometimes it's hard to get an employment verification letter. Sometimes HR is not willing to sign it, or maybe the supervisor you worked with is no longer there. What do you do? Or maybe the company closed down. What do you do in those types of situations? Well, you can submit two affidavits from people who have personal knowledge of your position at this company. So it could be former supervisors who might have moved on to different companies. It might be former colleagues. You get two affidavits and proof that they have personal knowledge of what you've done. Again, have similar information or the same information that you would typically need in an employment verification letter. Make sure it has the name of has the name of the person who's signing the affidavit, has their name and their address. I always recommend clients to get it notarized if possible, to make it as official as possible. Submit documents that show that this person worked there. Maybe they can give you their W-2 forms or a business card, something that ties them to that organization. Now, back to our case. Thankfully the beneficiary was able to gather all of his tax returns, gather all of his pay stubs, and so we had to build it out. Now he had multiple jobs in those past 6-7 years, and so we had to make sure that we're counting the correct experience for the exact job that we need that's relevant to our specific case. And we had to do a lot of detective work, but at the end of the day, we created a chart, and thankfully it added up, and he did have more than the required experience. We put that information on the labor cert, and then we were able to use that for the I-140, and again, the case was approved without any questions on that. Feel free to reach out to our firm if you have any questions about your PERM case or about this PERM case. We'd love to answer your questions, and I hope to see you next time.